The Movie Preview Critic. Informing and entertaining your movie world.
What's up, good movie lovers? Welcome to an audio movie review for A Nightmare on Elm Street. And back again is Jonas from
Zen and the Art of Waitering.blogspot.com. Thank you very much. Glad
Jonas,
to be here.
so let's just get right to it. We're talking about
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. And I gotta say, movie preview critic, mad. Angry.
Bad movie. Before we even get to the spoilers, if you haven't seen this movie, don't see it.
Yeah, forget about
Please do not see it. Do not give Michael Bay any more money. Do not give him an excuse to remake any other classic horror films as Platinum Dune bastards.
Yeah,
and
these just mercenaries, just
mercenaries,
ripping our childhood memory, re-raping. You know,
it's funny because Freddy's a childhood raper.
Yeah,
and so is Michael Bay.
So that's so he is the Freddy of cinema.
Yes, pretty much.
And actually, he's stealing the soul also.
Yeah, so
I guess you could say that.
And that's the thing is, this movie, as we're recording this movie topped the box office, made a ton of money, 36, 30 million opening week. And it did that in spite of overwhelmingly negative reviews.
Yeah.
Like, Metacritic, it's at a 33 right now.
Ooh, okay.
Which is one of the all-time lows. And, you know, like a lot of people, I went to see it anyway in spite of that because it's Nightmare on Elm Street, and I really wanted to see what they would do with it. And in my head, I'm like, how bad could it be?
Exactly.
Maybe there's something cool in here that
Yeah.
the critics aren't picking up on.
I was hoping. I'm like, it's Freddy. How can you mess it up? I want it to be good. You know, they've messed up Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Hitcher,
Friday the 13th, Amityville Horror,
Yeah.
you know, all those.
So they're just doing the bare minimum just to get by on the name so they can just get our money. And it's like, okay, Freddy, let's hope it's going to be good. And, yeah.
I liked Freddy versus Jason more than I liked this movie.
I can go with that. Yeah.
Because that was fun. It was stupid. It knew what it was. It was entertaining.
Right.
This wasn't entertaining. You go to Nightmare on Elm Street movies you want to see the kills.
Yes.
That's the main thing. And if you're going to go away from the kind of jokey way it kind of turned into in the later installments, you know, with Freddy cracking one-liners and, you know, the TV, you know, grabbing out and killing the girl.
Welcome to prime time,
welcome to prime time, bitch. Yeah, and then the... you know, the wizard kid and all that, you know, that kind of stuff.
Sorry, kid.
I don't believe in fairy tales.
How can they go from 8 installments where it's like, we've explored this idea, and now we're going to do a remake, where we just ignore basically everything, or we don't even try to one-up?
I understand the point of the reboot if they want to get back to its horror roots. Because it didn't, by the end of it, it wasn't really scary anymore. It was just like, it was fun.
Right.
It was a lot of fun, but it certainly wasn't scary. And the first one was scary. It was legitimately a horror movie. And I understand wanting to get back to that. The problem is that it wasn't scary in the least. It was so poorly directed. So it was directed as if the director had just grown up watching horror movies and just did every hack shot cliche imaginable.
Yeah.
Just lots of low tracking shots, lots of quiet. Fake scare. Oh, it's just the boyfriend. Quiet. Oh, it's a real scare. It's funny.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't waking up screaming, oh, it's just a nightmare. And it's just so not frightening. We've seen
it so many
times.
Even in non-Freddy movies, we've seen it
every horror movie. It was so generic. And so...
And I kind of feel that they took almost like a J-horror approach, where there's kind of this logic, right, where if the movie knows that an audience is watching it, it kind of sort of violates the logic of its own universe. Like, there's a scene early on here in the diner where, like, the guy's walking around kind of looking, and then Freddy comes in, and we get this shot of the glove. Now, the guy can't see that.
Right.
So it's not affecting him. But it's done specifically for us.
It's for us, yeah.
And that's J-horror. When it violates the logic of the killer, like, if I'm a killer, I want to kill you as soon as possible. Why would I play around and give you a spook here and scare you here and hold off for 6 or 7 minutes or scenes or whatever until I finally get you later on? No, I mean, my objective would be I want to do this right now, which Freddy does in the previous movies. He just, when he gets the wizard kid, he does 4 scenes later to kill him off.
Right,
it's like,
just, boom,
right now,
done, dead.
We're going to do it, yeah. So this took that whole J-horror thing of like, let me just slowly try to scare you here and there, and it wasn't a Freddy movie, and it just felt so slow. I mean, it took forever to get going.
That was the main problem also, is that we had to slog through so much exposition and so much, I'm having these scary nightmares. I'm having them too. No, you're not. No one's having nightmares. You're not.
Does he have a hat on?
Does he have a glove with not? And just the other problem is that so much of the movie is this it's the origin story, which if you've seen any Nightmare movies before, you already know. So we've got this quote-unquote mystery that needs to be solved about who this man is and why he's doing what he's doing. And we already, the audience, if they've had any kind of background on this, knows the mystery. We know the answers. So why are you wasting our time with this?
Yeah.
So we're sitting there just bored, waiting for them to get to the kills.
Exactly.
And the kills aren't inventive. It's just a standard slasher, just stabbing, cutting, just nothing exciting.
They're so mundane and boring.
So generic and so...
You've got CG. We're at the peak of possibility, and this is within the dream world. So it's like you think they would ramp it up and be imaginative. And
that's another one of my main complaints, is that within the framework of a dream world, you have limitless possibilities, literally. So why is it the only thing we get is the school hallway with the lights flickering on and off? Or the boiler room, like that's it, over and over and over again.
Or him at the chalkboard.
And in the classroom. And that seems to be the main way it's a nightmare, is the lights flicker on and off. That's how you know.
And 3 and 4 just took that whole franchise to another level. And you'd think at least, okay, with this one, we're gonna... Freddy can read your mind, I guess, right? He knows your fears. And the logic in the original movies was, okay, he feeds off of your fears to gain strength, and then he kills you and he gets your soul. Something like that.
Right, yes.
And I guess he would use your fears against you, which is cool because it's character-based, and it would say something about who you are, and we could have some social commentary. I mean, I like to always throw that in.
Here there was none of that. It was just completely generic, just slash and stab.
And these characters were just...
The characters themselves were completely generic. They were completely interchangeable. You've got the...
I know you didn't like the blonde.
The blonde... we have to watch, quote-unquote, act for the first 20 minutes of the movie is so awful, and so... She's just always... just shaking, just trembling, and you can picture the director be like, okay, you're scared. No, you're really scared. No, really, really scared. I want you to sell it. More trembling, more shaking, more...
Now you're in a 9.
Now you're 10. Okay, and she's just awful, man. She's just...
It basically follows that original structure where in the first one it's Tina that Freddy's kind of torturing here and like scaring a little bit here and there.
Right.
But we also incorporate Nancy right away and more characters. Here it was just that blonde girl for the first 20 minutes pretty much.
Which was like the first movie, and the thing was, I don't know if you can call it an homage, or they just ripped off the first movie pretty much note for note. You've got we're following the blonde girl for a little bit before it's revealed that actually, no, the brunette's the main character.
Right.
And we've got the boyfriend of the blonde girl that when she gets killed, the police think he did it.
Suspect.
Which, first of all, I love that the police are, boom, right there, 8 squad cars, like 5 minutes after the death. There's no one in the house, no one...
They had ADT, man. They had ADT on the house. I'm going to get myself ADT, because you just open that door...
That's the only possible explanation.
I think it was a private police force. There's no way that was like the, municipal, local... unionized force.
The dream scene when the blonde friend's in the body bag and she's being dragged, that was lifted right out of the first one. The way they pulled Freddy out of the dream to kill him was lifted. The way the mom got killed at the end of the movie was completely lifted.
Inspiration.
Exactly. Besides the whole plot in general. I mean, and the main character, the actors were nothing special. I mean, I wasn't expecting much acting wise, but you've got.
Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the tortured, the kind of outsider artist kids, which seem to be the standard go-to for like horror heroes. You got the girl is like a really withdrawn artist, and the guy, he's the hero because he's got a Joy Division T-shirt on, awkward soul,
right.
Outsider.
I'm surprised they didn't even play up the archetypes a little more, where it was like, the party girl or maybe like the jock. They didn't even go there. It was
just kind of very generic. Just kid. They all had money, and that was the thing. And they were always rich.
When you look at the original, you've had the iconic Johnny Depp bed kill with the blood,
which was amazing, and there wasn't anything close to that in this movie. Not even.
And they reversed it where she came out of the ceiling. She was kind of running through the muck.
Right, which they lifted the muck, right?
And that was kind of in the third one. And then it was the first half we got Freddy, who's kind of trying to be a little serious. And then the writers were like, wait, we need some one-liners.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, Jackie DeHoy starts dishing out the sarcasm just out of nowhere.
How's this for a wet dream?
Yeah, right.
And if you watch the fourth one, there's this great moment when it's just a teenage kid watching MTV reading a Playboy, and then his water bed starts shaking. There's a nude girl under it, and then Freddy pops out and he's like, "How's this for a wet dream?" So I mean, it makes sense,
right? But
and here's just oh, we'll just throw it out. There was the dog early on that they called Rufus, which is another Part 4 reference. There's a dog Rufus in there.
Okay.
And then Springwood's from Part 6. They never named, I guess, the town until Part 6, but it's you were just throwing these things in just to the fans will recognize this. but there's no like cohesive logic. When we saw Kick-Ass, you could tell they were having fun and enjoying making that movie. This one,
it was just, let's go in, do the bare minimum, and it's really cynical. It's just like, we'll throw together something, and we know people will go see it because it's called Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's got Freddy. And I asked you this before, how much extra does it cost to make a good movie? I don't understand that part of it. Like, how many more millions of dollars do you need to get a halfway decent screenwriter and a competent director? And it's funny, because this director, it's his first movie, he's known for his ads and his music videos.
Right.
And he's done a lot of really cool music videos. He did Smells Like Teen Spirit. He did, a couple of Marilyn Manson videos. The Rock is Dead video, which is really cool. He did Bull with Butterfly Wings for Smashing Pumpkins. He did Cranberries Zombie.
Nice.
Some really landmark, benchmark videos.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's none of that originality of imagery on display here. There's nothing exciting or nothing dark or really like you're looking like, man, that's so cool. Nothing. It's all generic. The one cool scene I also give him credit for, when they introduced the concept of micronaps.
Yes, I like that a lot,
Which
too.
is just that, your brain, you're going to start just, for half a second, you'll be dreaming and you won't know it. And they utilize this in the scene where the heroine is in this convenience store and it's flickering rapidly back and forth between her nightmare and reality, and she's crawling away on the back of the floor from Freddy, and so you don't see him, there you see him. You don't see him, you don't see him. And it's like, if they could do that, why wasn't there the rest of them?
It almost seemed like this was the first draft in a lot of ways, where it's like, okay, Freddy kills the guy here.
Right.
But now in the rewrite, you go back and you're like, okay, how can I make this imaginative? Like, look at the character, what would be kind of twisted for them. Where in like the third one, you get the girl who used to be like the drug addict, like heroin.
Right,
So
it
he does
stabs her
like
with at the needles, right.
And it's just, boom, that's perfect, And like the kid who maybe feels like his parents are controlling him, so he puppeteers him, And that was Frank Darabont, Shawshank Redemption, writer. So it's not a coincidence that talent knows how to take that and sculpt it and everything. And the original Nightmare series was inspired because it was like, here's the slasher genre. Now, how can we think of something new? Because you got Jason, you got Halloween, you got all these ideas coming out, April Fool's Day. And it's like, okay, what's the new slasher? And Wes Craven comes with this great idea, your dreams can kill you. Amazing. But now, it's not inspiration, it's just, profit cashing in. It's very cynical, like you say. It's just this is so insulting. Like, I'm sick of apologizing for having standards. This movie made me so angry.
There's so much wasted potential behind it. The idea that your dreams can keep, there's so many places you can go with that. And they went nowhere.
Yeah.
They just didn't even try. And it brings it's like, what can we do with reboots? What is the point? And there's two ways you can go. There's the quick cash-in, which is what Platinum Dunes and Michael Bay and that whole production company is all about.
Right.
Just throw the name on it, I'll shit it out there, and people will come and see it. But then there's Dark Knight, which completely reinterpreted the Batman franchise, breathed new life into it. You've got, and mostly television has done a great job with the reboot. Battlestar Galactica was wonderful, was just such a great reimagine. They call it, the way they phrase it is a reimagining, because that's what it is.
You have to use your imagination.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not just the same old thing. They totally took it in a totally new direction. V.
Yeah,
which is fun. It's like that's a very good reboot of the original miniseries.
It is. I like the original a lot, but looking back, it's pretty cheesy.
Yeah,
and now they're taking a nice angle to it.
And the reason, because that is in television, you've got to keep people coming back week after week after week after week, and you have to keep up in the ante week after week after week after week. Here, you can trick people. In television, you can only trick people once.
Yeah.
And then they won't come back.
And when you trick them at the theater once, you get that opening weekend.
You already have the $36 million opening. And that's why they're already talking about the sequel.
Yeah. Because this movie, it was the highest Nightmare budget, I think, other than Freddy vs. Jason. It was like $27 million.
Right. It was also the highest grossing.
Opening weekend.
Highest grossing opening weekend.
Yeah, but then I did read it didn't match ticket sales. So with the inflated prices, it's kind of a little deceiving, but still, that says a lot that you put out this half-hearted effort and it's still going to bank. And I think if I was a kid, if I was like 14, 15, and I loved the Nightmare movies, I'd be like, it'd be cool to see a Nightmare movie on the big screen.
Right.
And hope that they would do it right. Same thing, for seeing a Halloween or a Friday the 13th. So it's kind of like watching the Rolling Stones today, where like, when you saw them in the 60s and 70s, it was relevancy. They were relevant for the times. They spoke to kind of our hearts. And now it's nostalgia, or it's just like cashing in on the feelings that they once had.
But at least they execute their songs competently.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
still a fun show to go watch.
Exactly.
And you know, talk about, again, going back to reboots, the only person in the horror film, the horror genre we talked about, that's even attempting to do anything different is Rob Zombie with the Halloween franchise.
Yeah.
At least he's an auteur with a vision. Now, you can debate validly, you know, how good his vision is,
right,
and how well it's executed.
It's kind of like white trash horror,
right? But you know, and really a gore fest and kind of torture porn. But at least he's trying something.
He is,
you know,
at least he's putting forth an effort of like, I'm going to sit down and think about this,
right?
Instead of like, let's just Xerox the plot for the original film. And did you like the backstory where it's like, now he's a pedophile?
I mean, they kind of, apparently it's not enough anymore that you're a child murderer. Now you have to be a pederast.
Right.
But I kind of get, you know, in the 80s, murder is kind of code for pedophile. They really couldn't talk about molestation, I guess, in that time. So
it would have been a little bit
because there's really no such thing as just a child murderer. Yeah. It really is a pedophile, and they may or not murder the kids, but that's
Freddy
what it,
always
that's
seemed
what
like a
it
dirty
is.
old man anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is, and they just made that more explicit here.
Yeah.
So what I didn't like is that they had to go through this whole process of like, no, we're kids, we lied about it, this is an innocent man, and this kind of twist, like, no, he wasn't innocent, he was actually a rapist.
Exactly, and now you're like, what? Now you're feeling sympathy for Freddy?
And there's no need for that. He's just gonna be a bad guy from the get-go. We can roll with that. That's fine.
Just
you know?
commit to it. I wish they kind of would have just condensed, like, take all the 8 parts and all the interesting information. Like in part 6, it was like, some sleep ancient demons granted him the power to stay eternal within dreams.
Right, and then 3 was the nun that was raped by 1,000 maniacs, which is so cool.
So, yeah, that's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
It's super awesome. So maybe if you can just
they're
kind of
saving
go
that
with
for number 2.
Yeah,
they're saving that for
that's
the
the
sequel.
problem. It's like now we have all this information and story that's developed. So now we have to kind of disperse it out over the next 3 or 4 sequels if they get that far.
Right.
Thankfully, there's not a Friday the 13th Part 2 yet, but I'm sure that's going to happen soon. So it's like, it would have been great if they would have, because Freddy's character was really neglected here. I wish he would have just had more of a point of view. That's the thing. If you give your character a point of view, he's going to approach every scene with like, here's why I'm here, here's what I need to do, I have an objective towards the end, instead of like, I'm just around and kind of scary and stuff like that. Yeah. And I also hated how the parents, they had to do the thing like, no, we don't know anything about this. And like the half-hearted scene where in the principal's office where it's like, you killed him, and now we know about it.
And like, until you have children, you won't know what it's like when you can't protect them. And
yeah. This is like whatever. And then we're going for that kind of Saw thing where we want to see the new torture, we want to see the new kill. Right. So give us CGI Freddy kills. Give us something really that's going to blow us away a little bit. I want Matrix Freddy, you know?
Seriously, yeah.
Take it to that.
I want, you know, or Pan's Labyrinth Freddy. You know, that was a movie that totally succeeded in creating a dreamscape.
Great example.
You know, it was a really inventive imagery in that one. And creepy. And if you applied that aesthetic to this movie, you could really do some crazy things. Like, you can go so surreal in a movie-scape. In a nightmare theme, and they just decided not to do that. It was just in the factory. It was just so basic. And
it would have been great if like a Peter Jackson or someone suggested David Lynch.
Would be an unbelievable choice.
That would be super balls.
That would be just balls to the wall crazy.
That would have been sweet, and then the ending. Hate the ending where it's like, because in the original they set up where it's like a dreamy kind of thing, and they're in a car, and then like. It's kind of cheesy, like the top goes over
and locks in,
and it's a sweater color.
Yeah,
and then she gets dragged through the window. But here it's like it seems like it's reality, and then Freddy's in the mirror, and you're just sitting there like, okay, how are they going to set up the sequel? And here it is, and that mirror thing is just like, reach out at us, dude. They're killing us, you know, our love. Yeah, they're killing our love for film.
They're killing our love for film.
I mean, this is seriously just Michael Bay and Platinum Dunes. Just like pissing all over us, just whipping it out, and on the audience, and like, I dare you to be mad at us.
And I dare you not to watch this.
Yeah.
I dare you not to pay money for this. And movie lovers, if you're out there, do not pay money for this movie. Don't buy it on DVD. Don't watch it on cable. Yeah. Just really, you need to make a stand. Stop the movie apocalypse.
This is totally a harbinger of the movie pod. We're in it, man. We're in it. There's no more like it's coming. This is a sign of it is here.
That being said, I kind of want to see A-Team.
Jonas, we need to have a little bit of a talk.
I'm sorry, Liam Neeson is Hannibal.
I know.
Liam Neeson is
But Bradley Cooper is in every movie. It's like he's like the tough guy now. I don't know. His face. Yeah. Face shooting a tank gun. It looks cool. I don't know. I don't know if it feels A-Team-ish to me, but whatever. Well, that'll be another review. So. Yeah, edited for TV is the lowest rating that I have right now, where it's like, just watch it in the background.
While you're doing something else?
Doing something more interesting. So I don't know if there's something lower than that.
You need a lower rating, which is boycott.
Boycott.
Like, actively. Actively don't watch this film.
Yeah.
Actively tell people not to go watch this film.
Oh, wait, no, never ever. I think that's...
Yeah,
I just added
never
that.
ever.
Never ever. That's
Never
the newest.
ever.
Never ever. So don't even waste your 2 hour and a half
Don't waste
of
your...
life.
It's not just it's your time that's wasted.
Time, money, energy, mental storage capacity, all that. So just save it. Living in tough times. So we got to have some standards, man. We got to like start actually getting kind of pissed about things instead of, you know, putting up with it. I think we got it.
I think we got it, yeah.
I think there was no hiding our feelings there.
So, yeah, no mistaking our feelings.
So the last thing I will say is that you should visit zenandtheartofwaitering.blogspot.com. And Jonas has business cards.
I have business card. If you'd like to purchase the book, you could, for download for your Apple... Your phone, your new, what is it called? The iPad, your Sony e-reader, your Kindle. If you want to get it on PDF, if you just want an HTML copy, you can go to smashwords.com/books/view/13249. $5.95. What a bargain.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Okay, so, sir, it's been a pleasure once again.
Been a pleasure again.
Iron Man 2's next.
Ooh, I'm psyched.
I'm psyched too. This should be good.
Okay.
All right.
Until then, long live good movies.
Long live good movies.